Hi there, Chris here, another quick tip for you all. In this video, we're going to continue our look at painting dusty feet, or in this case, dusty tracks, as tracks on tanks tend to get a little dusty as well. And so I figured before anybody asks, I figured we'd show that in this answering this question as well. So to get us started, we're going to use some Moor and Fang Brown. I'm going to be using this for this tank. Now this color here is just chosen just because it's got a nice ruddy color to it, and it will work well with the blue-black that is on the tank already. We'll be using our medium dry brush for this. You could also use a large dry brush. And basically, we're making sure that we are removing a lot of the paint from the brush before we start laying it to the model. And when we are working the brush strokes against the model, we're always working against the grain on the surface. So if the lines are running east-west, your brush stroke is north-south, and vice versa as you're working your way around. I understand some people don't quite understand, that. You can also use a semicircular type motion as well. As you can see there, in some areas I use a semicircular motion just to get into the little nooks and crannies, and also to get more paint onto the surface. And again, you can see here how we're getting more and more paint onto the flat areas of the surface of the model, and that it just comes from laying more and more paint down, and again using very little paint on the brush. But as we get near the end here, we're going to be applying just a little bit more paint to the bristles, just so that we can deepen up some of that color on the leading edge of the tank. As you would imagine, dust would accrue more on the front end of the tank and not quite as heavy on the back end, although you can argue some would that dust would collect uniformly along the edge. But I'm just going to do kind of a leading edge more halfway up the tank, and then towards the back end it's a little bit tapered down towards the end of the wheels or the tracks. You can see I'm using a little bit of heavier load on the brush. And again, using the brush strokes as well to kind of create these little streaks, just very, very minor. Again, imagining maybe it's just a little bit of dirt, maybe it's a little bit of dust, maybe they were fighting in some sort of terrain where it got a little bit muddy and then dries up, and whatever, right? Whatever way you can imagine it, I guess. Again, you can see we're just simply laying more and more of the color down. Again, we're just building it up. And I also catch that little sponson as well. Just that little front leading corner of that. Next, we're going to take some Steel Legion Drab. We're going to slap this onto the palette. And again, we're going to use our same brush. And oftentimes when I'm using a large dry brush like this as well, I will often use my brush soap and clean the brush before, before a color change like this. Usually if I'm going dark colors to light colors, I will wash the brush and clean it with soap just to make sure that I have no color transference. Again, you can see here we're dry brushing this layer on, and again we're going to tilt the tank a little bit more so that more of the brush stroke catches that front leading edge just a little bit more. And we also don't want too much of the paint building up over the entirety of what we had previously done. We want more of that color built up towards the bottom edge of the tank, so that we have this transition of color, and it also gives us the indication of variation of drying, and maybe layers of dust and dirt and grime and what have you. Again, the key to good dry brushing is to make sure that you always have a lot of paint removed from the brush, and also that you keep a very light hand. Work the brush against the details. Go always. The example is against the grain, as it were. Ushabti Bone is next. This is going to be our final color. This is going to give us our nice dusty, kind of deserty kind of color here. Again, we're going to be using the same large dry or medium dry brush here, and we remove a lot of the paint from the brush. And as you can see really quickly here, how the Ushabti Bone just sits right on top of all that brown and gives us all a nice little dusty tones. And again, it gives us a really nice dry appearance. You can see just a nice little quick little flick on some of those gear heads and other points there to interest, just to kind of really kind of bring them out. But again, this is just to give us a nice dusty dry appearance to the tank. As you can see there, it's pretty straightforward. It's relatively easy to do. It just takes a little bit of practice with the dry brushing, but it's as easy as that. Do not be afraid to give it a try. We've got even more painting tutorials in the Silver MiniWarGaming Vault. You can watch another one today about how I paint the dusty effect on the boots of a model of a Space Marine. Just click the link in the video description below and watch it right now. If you don't have a MiniWarGaming Vault membership, you can click the link and sign up for a free 7-day trial. Make sure that you get the silver membership so you can access all the painting tutorials, and you'll get instant access to over 1,000 painting tutorials already in the vault. And so thank you for watching. Happy wargaming.